What it do, comic babies? I'm Bunkmaster B, and today we're talking about one of my favorite series that I kind of realized I don't know that I've ever talked about on this particular channel. So if you've seen me on any live streams on other places, or if you've just kind of seen me around online, you know that I talk an awful lot about Ice Cream Man. Also, apparently, I pull my headphone cord along with it. This is one of my absolute favorite series. Before I say anything else, I gotta give a huge shout out to my friend Curtis Fisher, Skip and Tosh. No one was a bigger fan of Ice Cream Man than him, and I adored talking with him about the mythology, about kind of the themes, everything like that. Really, this video should be one that he's doing because no one loved this more than him. He's unfortunately not here with us anymore, so I guess I got this one for you, Skip. But this is an amazing horror anthology by the team of W. Maxwell Prince, Martin Morazzo, and Chris O'Halloran. It's an anthology series that follows the titular Ice Cream Man, who may have a real name or may not, and just as many numbers of names that come along the way. And the best way that I would have to describe this is sort of mundane horror or existentialist horror. And I realize that doesn't mean a whole lot to anything there. But really what that kind of comes down to is while this series does include things like werewolves that you'll see, and includes, some demons, some otherworldly things there, what this series is at its core is about the horror of everyday life. The horror that we are faced with in an uncaring world where, the world is, tends towards entropy, things fall apart, the center cannot hold, and just about how easy it is to sort of let those things take hold, let the bad music make its way in, and what happens when we allow that to happen. And pretty horrifying things happen there. It's almost a little bit Twilight Zone-ish, where the idea is that, maybe not necessarily Twilight Zone, but kind of Monkey's Paw, where the titular Ice Cream Man here, he doesn't necessarily directly show up as an Ice Cream Man. Well, certainly not as an Ice Cream Man in every issue, but in some facet he's typically there. And the idea is that he comes with you with an offer every time. Sometimes it's something as simple as 2 scoops of chocolate, lickety-split, just like that. Sometimes it's something a little bit more needful that you have. But either way, what he has to offer isn't something that's good. And if you take it, your life is probably going to be worse for it. And all along the way, it's the horror of sort of the unknown. It's the horror of, of reality television in some episodes. It's the horror of going through life unseen. It's the horror of, being a father and just the sort of abject unknowing and sort of wanting desperately to cling to control over that which cannot be controlled. Each issue is going to deal with a certain kind of theme for that, and it tells a one and done story. Sometimes they tie into a larger narrative, sometimes you get a little bit more, but for the most part, it's just about that individual story. But enough talking about, what it's about. Let's go see it. Let's go check out this gem of a series. Because, without knowing it, you guys have actually been seeing this particular series anytime you watch one of my videos. That's one of the original pages from Ice Cream Man 24. One of my favorite issues. And yeah, that always hangs out over my shoulder. So let's check out what it looks like all together. So before we actually look at Ice Cream Man itself, I'm going to do that thing I do sometimes where I show off the original art pieces that I have. Because, hey, what is this channel if not a vanity project for the stuff I like to talk about? So if you look here, boop, you can see one of the pages. Oh, it's a good page. And then here, boop, here's another one. Oh, love that page. The vulture that's there. It's a returning image that goes through the series, and I love the way that Morazzo draws vultures. And then lastly, boop, right there. I mean, the Ice Cream Man himself leading a memorial service for the stand-in for series writer W. Maxwell Prince while he's holding a mugshot. Doesn't get any better than that. Oh, so good. But anyway, we're not here to talk about the original art pieces. We're here to talk about the story itself. So this is the Sunday edition. It's got the first 12 issues. I'm actually not going to be covering the first issue, because I think that's sort of where you go to start with. I think the one that really sort of sets up this issue where it's like, okay, I get what this is about, is issue number 4. Every good boy does fine. So this is really where sort of the existential horror kind of comes in. And this is, I think, a really great issue that shows us how Maxwell Prince is able to mix in sort of the horror of the mundane with just sort of the over-the-top horrific elements that kind of make this series. So we see this character, and he's getting ready to deliver a eulogy for his best friend, Chris. Chris is unfortunately not with us anymore, which is why there's a funeral. And he hadn't really been talking much to Chris, and he kind of feels bad about that. And it's all those feelings of sort of lingering of, I should have done more, was I a good enough friend, that goes through every kind of situation like that. Like when you get the news that someone in your life you cared about is passed, you always sort of think about what you didn't do, what you wished you had done. And that's very much what this is. And all the while, Chris's wife is pregnant with their first child. And so he's dealing with these feelings of, am I going to be enough as a father? All the while he feels he wasn't enough as a friend. And so he's eulogizing. We get to see his dad, who was, a deadbeat going on there. And weird that we get this weight in a different text box. Not sure what that was about. His dad comes up, and they go out for a drink. And they kind of catch up and have this awkward moment because, again, it's you don't ever want to stare directly at the sun. You acknowledge that it's there, you kind of look around it, but you don't want to look right at it and kind of talk directly about what they're there for. And they get talking to each other about sort of the idea of fatherhood. We find out, why he left their family, and we find out that he's thinking about leaving and just doesn't think that he's going to be enough, that he's going to be able to do it. Talk about lives of regret. Weird. There's that box again with that red lettering. And it's this heart-to-heart about inadequacy, about this idea, of being enough, about making sure that we are the person that we want to be to those people around us. And we start getting a little bit more And now, a brief unpleasant interlude. And we get to see that Chris is not in a better place. And we get to see these sort of horrific but also ridiculous, and I mean, it's some of them, like, and again, apologies if you're not into spiders, but he's, got spiders going there, crawling over him. But then he's being tickled by these humongous feathers, by these skeletons in ice cream caps. We have these dog surgeons who are doing surgery on him. We have a clarinet section that's playing. These notes signify the bad music. We have him getting pumped up, and it's just this sort of very silly torture. We have this flesh amalgam that's coming here with the eyes coming through. He's in the sweet place. That's something that's gonna kind of return there. We get to see these moments of sort of his dad walking out on him in all these different ways, and that's the song that's being sung. It's taking him back to his lowest moment. And then we flash back to, turns out his dad went back to, before they actually lowered the casket down and opened it up, and had a moment where he just held his son and cried. Hold on as tight as you can. And at the end of this, we're introduced to the Man in Black. I know what you're doing to the people in this town, friend of mine, and I don't think I like it very much at all. No siree. So I guess I'll be seeing you around, pal. And it's this kind of thing that I think works so well in this series. Because you're getting that mundane moment where it's this heart-to-heart between a dad and the best friend of his son that he just lost. And talking about sort of those moments interspersed with this idea of what comes next may not be particularly nice. We get this horrific torture scene that's tinged with the absurd. And then at the end of it, we get just a little bit of universe building. We get to see the Ice Cream Man. We get to see this counterforce to him, and with no explanation, just shows up and starts whistling his own music that is not in those colors. And that's all we get. That's the issue. And it's that kind of thing. It's this juxtaposition between the mundane and the horrifying that I think works so well for this particular series. It's not going to be for everyone, but if it is for you, you're in for a treat. So that's it. That's Ice Cream Man. It's one of those series that I think is tough to judge until you actually read it. It's one you can kind of describe to people, and there's not really a particularly good way to describe the series that's, really going to get somebody to say, oh, that sounds great, I want to check that out, without just reading it yourself. I mean, honestly, the best way to figure out if this series is for you, just read the thing. Sunday Edition Volume 1 is out. This is the first 12 issues, and then it's got some back matter. $45 cheaper on IST and other places. You can check it out on Hoopla. They have all of the trades. Volume 2 of the Sunday Edition is coming out soon. I'm definitely going to be picking it up, and of course, you can go to your local comic shop and pick it up in issues on a monthly basis. Not a bad way to check out the series. So, have you guys read Ice Cream Man? And if so, what'd you think? You probably won't hurt my feelings if you say you didn't like it, because I get it. It's not a series for everyone. It's doing things that not a lot of other series are doing right now. But man, if this series hits with you, it hits. And I want to hear, good or bad, I can take it. What do you think about it? Let me know down below. But with that, I've been Bunkmaster B. You all have been amazing. And I'll catch you next time.